build on this in subsequent modules. Now that we know why data is very important, it's very important to also quickly go to lesson 6, where we look at what are the qualities of credible data. So lesson 6, qualities of credible data. Data that can be trusted. So let's move. So there are 3 things for credible data. 3 things. If data is going to be credible, it has to be clear, it has to be complete, and it has to be consistent. So I will give illustrations of clarity, completeness, and consistency just now. So for clarity, I want you to take a look at this table again. I just did Florence again, and look at areas that may be unclear. And I'll explain. But just take a moment and see what areas, if you looked at this table, what will you be a bit concerned about? What will be difficult to understand? Because clarity makes it easy to assess and understand the data. So I think you would have a problem with this name J. It doesn't seem to be complete. It doesn't mean Joseph, doesn't mean James, doesn't mean John, you know. So J is rarely anybody's name. So it just has one character. So there's a clarity problem here. Some people's names are not complete. Another thing here is just written food. Is it favorite food? Is it ordered food? Is it food for tomorrow? Just said food. Is it food that the person likes in the morning? So the information is not enough to understand the context of this data. Is this list about what they ordered in a restaurant, like what we discussed? Or is this something they want to order tomorrow? So that is very, very important. So there are other things, details, for example, the weight, is it in kg? The age, is it in years? So the more clearer your data is, the more it can be credible and trusted. So clarity is key. So you see the other one too, and egg sauce. I assume the person wanted to spell the word yam, Y-A-M, but it doesn't make any sense. Or does he want to spell ham, H-A-M? Now, when you have data that you keep asking questions, or you are likely going to speculate, then credibility is at stake. So if you want your data to be trusted, you have to make it as clear as possible. So let's look at completeness. Looking at this table again, what do you see that may be amiss? So clearly, one row seems to have much of the information missing. While in advanced data management, this may not be a problem, it's very important that you are sure that it is not. So the only thing in that row is the age, which is 20 years. So some entities seem to be missing. And that's what completeness is all about. All the entities you were supposed to reach should be accounted for. Whether it was plants, whether it was traffic, whatever you were trying to generate attributes on, you have to have the record. So it has a problem with the completeness of the entities. And sometimes critical variables or attributes, can be missing here, and that's very important when you are collecting data on how long you spent on the internet, and you don't have the start time but you have the end time. You cannot compute the difference in time. So completeness is key. It's going to be credible and trusted for intervention. It has to be complete. Now the final word, which is the buzzword you hear around, is usually consistency. And what it's just saying basically is logical consistency. So let's look at 1 minute, just a minute. Let me go back. At consistency, let's look at comfort. Comfort basically in this part is a name for a female. So that would be worrisome. Another thing that is worrisome is the age. of Florence. She's 25 years old, and this is year 2000, and 2020, and she claims she was born in April 1st, 1997. That's not possible. It's not logically correct. So it's either the age is wrong or the date of birth is wrong. So credible data, I cannot overemphasize, must be logically consistent. These are the three what's the word? Three vital goals for data management to ensure your data is clear, is complete, and consistent. When those three things are in place, then the data is ready for analysis and review. And then, people can now even take interventions, take intelligent information from the data and use it. So that is basically those three qualities that are very important. And I hope as we move on to the other modules, this will form the structure of how we're going to teach Stata commands. Stata commands that help for clarity, Stata commands that help for completeness, Stata commands that help for logical consistency. Okay, so we're done with lesson 6, and we want to talk about credible journey